The nights were longer now. I don't mean by the clock. I mean in the way they felt. Like the dark hung around too long. Like it didn't want to leave. After the little girl, the patients changed. Or maybe I just started seeing them differently. They came one by one, each more wrong than the last. The first was a man with no pupils, just white orbs where his eyes should be. He said he had a headache. I told him I couldn't help him tonight. He tilted his head and asked, "Why? Are you afraid of me?" I didn't answer. He stood up and walked out the door, laughing. That laugh echoed through the clinic for hours after he left. Even when the door was closed, even when I put in earplugs. The next night, a woman came in. She had no face, no eyes, no nose, no mouth, just smooth skin from forehead to chin. But she spoke. Her voice came from inside my head, soft like a whisper you can't shake. "I need stitches," she said. I backed away. "I'm sorry, I can't help you tonight." She tilted her head as if listening to something. Then she walked away too. Through the wall. Not the door. The wall. I stopped keeping regular clinic hours after that. Started locking the front door before sunset. But they kept coming, no matter what. One came in speaking backwards. Not just his words, but his breath too. Inhale when it should have been exhale. His mouth moved wrong. His teeth were too sharp. He left behind a trail of ash where he walked. Not dirt. Ash. And the locals? They were watching me now. Always. Every time I stepped outside, their eyes followed. No smiles, no nods, just stares. One woman stood in front of her house for 5 hours straight. Didn't move, didn't blink. Just watched me. That's when I stopped going out during the day. It wasn't safe anymore. Not that the night was any better. The radio came on again one evening, just after 9 p.m. It crackled to life all by itself. I didn't touch it. Didn't even get up. A voice came through. A whisper, shaking and slow. "They know you're not from here." Static. Then silence. Then the voice again. "You don't belong. You never did." More static. Then one final sentence. "They'll fix that soon." I didn't sleep at all that night. I sat in the hallway with my back to the wall, flashlight in one hand, scissors in the other, watching the front door and the mirror. Even though it was covered, I swear something behind it moved, like it was breathing. The next day, a woman came to the clinic holding a cloth bag. She placed it gently on the counter and smiled. Thin lips, crooked teeth. Her voice was sweet, too sweet. "I'm here for a checkup, doctor." I stared at the bag. It moved. Something inside was still alive. "I'm not taking patients today." She smiled wider. Then reached into the bag and pulled out a tooth. Big, yellow, still wet. She dropped it on the counter like it was money. "It's for you," she said. I didn't touch it. She left the bag and walked away. That night, I opened the bag. Inside were more teeth. Dozens. All different shapes and sizes. Some human, some not. I dumped them into the trash behind the clinic. Burned them. But the next morning, they were back. Laid out neatly on my pillow. Clean. Polished. Labeled with my name. Footprints started showing up outside my cabin. Not one set. Several. Circling the house. Leading up to the windows. Stopping. at the door. Some were bare feet. Some were hooves. Some, I don't know what they were. Long toes. No heels. Like something had crawled instead of walked. Each night something knocked. Not always at the door, sometimes the wall. Sometimes the ceiling. One time, from under the floor. But it never spoke. Just knocked. 3 times. Then silence. One night, I stayed by the front door with the lights off. Held my breath. Waited. When the knock came, it was soft. Right against the wood. I leaned in close, listening. And then I whispered, "Who's there?" No answer. Just breathing. Then the knock again. Soft. Slow. I backed away. Didn't open it. Didn't speak again. Eventually, it stopped. But I knew it was still there. Standing on the other side. Smiling. I kept a knife by the bed after that. Not because I thought I could fight whatever was out there, but because holding it made me feel real. Like I still had control over something. Then, one morning, I woke up and found the mirror uncovered. The sheet I had taped up was folded and placed on the chair. My reflection stared at me, but it wasn't copying me. I blinked. It didn't. I turned away. It smiled. I threw a towel over it. Didn't dare look again. I started writing notes and taping them to my walls. Do not look in the mirror. Do not answer knocks unless they speak. Do not treat them twice. Do not forget who you are. Because that's what it felt like. Like I was slipping. Forgetting things. My name. Where I came from. Why I came here. They weren't just haunting me. They were replacing me. And I think they knew. They knew I was the only one here who didn't belong. And they were getting closer. Every night. I didn't know who to trust anymore. Not the patients. Not the villagers. Not even my own reflection. But I knew one thing for sure. Something wanted me gone. Or worse. Something wanted to make me one of them.
I wasn't planning to go looking for anything. I swear. I just wanted to make it through another night. But something in this place, it pulls at you. It whispers. It waits for the moment you're tired, hungry, too worn out to keep saying no. And then it shows you what it wants. It started with a creak. Late one night, just after 2 a.m. The clinic was locked up tight. I had checked every window twice, but I kept hearing this sound, like a board bending under weight. Not fast, not sharp, just slow. Creak. Over and over. Same rhythm, same spot. I followed the sound through the dark with my flashlight, into the exam room, then the supply closet, and finally, to a small room I hadn't used much, just a spare space with an old bed and some crates. The sound was louder here. I walked in, careful not to make a sound. There was an old metal bed frame pushed against the wall, dusty, untouched, but the floor beneath it creaked. I crouched down and shined my light under the bed. Nothing. But the boards looked different. Worn in a perfect square, like a hatch. I pushed the bed aside, my fingers shaking. There it was. A trap door. No handle, just a metal ring. I didn't want to open it. I really didn't. But something inside me whispered, "You need to know." It took all my strength to lift it. The hinges screamed. Dust poured out. And below, a staircase. Old, wooden, leading down into pure black. I grabbed a flashlight, a spare battery, and a screwdriver just in case. And I went down. Every step creaked. The air grew cold and wet, smelled like rot and rust. The deeper I went, the more the air pulsed. Not moved, pulsed, like something down there had a heartbeat. At the bottom was a stone tunnel, rough walls, no lights, no sounds, just the tap of my footsteps and my breathing. Then I saw the carvings, dozens of them, all along the walls, etched deep into the stone. All the same face, my face, over and over. Eyes wide, mouth open, screaming, and every one of them scratched out, clawed through, ripped apart. I ran my fingers over one, fresh. The dust still fell from it when I touched it. Someone had just made it. The tunnel led to a small room. No doors, just a circle. And inside, bones, piles of them. Not buried, not hidden, just stacked like trash. Skulls, ribs, spines, some human, some too long, too narrow, wrong. Medical tools hung from the ceiling by wires, scalpels, bone saws, needles. But the worst part was the mirror. Tall, freestanding, cracked in 3 places, but still whole. My flashlight dimmed as I stepped closer. And then, a voice echoed through the tunnel, not from behind me, from the mirror. "If you're hearing this," I froze. "You've already stayed too long." It wasn't my voice, but it was me. My face, my mouth moving in the glass, my eyes staring back, but older, worn, dead. I turned to run, but before I could move, something else happened. The reflection changed. Someone was standing behind me, tall, thin. Its face was stitched shut, eyes black and wide, hands too long. I spun around, nothing there. When I looked back in the mirror, it was still there, and now it was smiling. I bolted, didn't look back, ran up the stairs 2 at a time, slammed the trapdoor shut, pushed the bed back over it, and sat on the floor, trying not to scream. The next morning, everything was still, like nothing had happened. But I knew what I'd seen. I knew what was down there, and I finally understood. I wasn't the first doctor here, not by a long shot. They'd all been down there, all left behind. Bones and warnings and reflections that didn't quite match. The photos, the records, none of them showed a history, because the island didn't have a history. It just had replacements. I grabbed the old clipboard from the front desk, looked through the intake logs. Most of the names were scratched out, but one entry stood out. Dr. Samuel Rhodes, arrival, September 12. That was me, except I arrived on October 3rd. I flipped back a few pages. The same name was there. Again, and again, and again. Dr. Samuel Rhodes, always scratched out, always replaced. My handwriting, my signature, but different dates, different arrival years. The pages got older and older, but the name stayed the same. My name. I went to the mirror upstairs, ripped the towel off, and stared. It stared back, didn't smile, didn't move wrong, but I couldn't trust it. Not anymore. I sat at the desk and wrote one sentence in my notebook. I wasn't the first. And then under that, I won't be the last. Now I keep the door to that room locked, but I can still hear it. The creaking beneath the bed, the heartbeat in the walls, and sometimes the whisper in my own voice saying, "Come back down."